Jessica, you can take this back if you want.
All right, first announcement is Color Wars. Next week is our last week of programming. Then we have a break, and the following week is June 16th. That is when Color Wars starts. Color Wars. What is Color Wars?
To see which team is the best.
Yep, so if you sign up, you'll be...
It's kind of like Survivor, but nobody has to go home.
Kind of.
Really, it is.
I don't know.
That's how sweet it's going to be. You've seen some of those Survivor sets, right? It won't be like that, but it's going to be really fun.
Okay, so after you sign up, you're going to be put into a color on the first night. There's going to be 4 colors, and for 8 weeks, you guys are competing against each other. Every week, you guys will get points for bringing friends, winning games, best sportsmanship, if you wear your color, if your whole team shows up, all the things. If you get a ton of points, then after the 8 weeks, your team will win.
A really big prize that we're announcing on the first night of Color Wars.
Nope, on the last night. Or on the first night.
We're announcing it on the first night, and they win it on the last night.
Sure.
How about that? They have to have incentive.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, is that what? Last announcement. Okay, our all-boys camp and our all-girls camp is coming up August 13th and 15th.
Who's going?
Who's going? Yeah, anybody? No one's going to go.
You guys are excited.
Well, we have one. All right, guys. Well, you need to sign up for that camp because it's going to be a lot of fun. I might make a special appearance. I might not. But John's there the whole time, so it's really fun. All right. And we'll turn it over to John. I'm sorry, they're not excited about camp, but maybe next week.
Oh my gosh, and they got the spotlights. Holy crap. All right. Still can't, there we go. All right, welcome. This is like our second to last week. We have some new people. I'm not gonna call them out because that's kind of embarrassing for new people, so. We are happy that you're here if this is your first week, or maybe it was your first week in like 6 years from some of the people I checked in. So for those of you that maybe couldn't hear, we do have our guy camps and our girls camps. And so that's Gigi and Fearless, and that'll be at Camp Chaminade. So trying to paint a picture, it'll be $125. You get all the food, you get a free t-shirt, you get all the activities that they have, which is like zip lining, they have a rock climbing wall, they have games, activities, competitions, stuff like that, and they have a beach, lake, all that great stuff. So we'll give you more details. I mean, we only have 1 week left. So you'll get all the details next week. Keep a lookout for the emails that I send. Basically, tell your parents to keep a lookout. We start Color Wars June 16th. We have about 35 to 40 of you signed up. So this is like your first week. We have the team competitions. So join us for that. It's free food, free events, free games. You get the same team every week, and then you get to destroy one another. It's a lot of fun. So this is the last week of the messages. Next week will be all games. I'm kind of springing that up on Cole and Jessica, so they'll be leading the games all week next week. Then you guys will be saying goodbye to your small groups. You'll be saying bye to your leaders. I mean, maybe some of you won't even be coming back next year because you're graduating, like Hannah. And so I know, we'll miss all of you. So this is like the last week where I know all the other ones too, it's whatever. So this is the last week where we can give you guys kind of a message and give you something to be proactive about, something to apply to your life. And so what I wanted to do was make this message making a difference with a little twist at the end. And so we've been here, I think, 36 weeks, maybe even 40, for the amount of weeks that we do through the school year. And so every week you come in here and you hear a message. You hear the worship, you have your small groups. And so we hope that there's something that you're able to take back with you, something at the end of the year where you feel like, I can apply this to my life. Some of you have been coming here for many years. You've heard a lot of messages. Some of the stories kind of repeat. But we try to present something new every year for you guys. And some of you, like some of my seniors, have been here since 7th grade, and this is your 12th grade year. So you've been here 6 years, hearing messages every single week. So we hope that we're doing our job to be able to say, you know what, I want to give you something that you can apply for your life. So when it comes to making a difference, I was trying to research in the Bible, trying to find something that I can pull out that can maybe propel you to want to make a difference this summer. Because some of you aren't going to be here for Color Wars. Some of you may not come back next year. Some of you may graduate. Some of you may not go to church during the summer because it's kind of an off time for you. You go to the cabins or play sports. So we want to be able to show you that you can still make a difference, even if you're not technically coming to church. So we're going to be at Matthew 5. There we go. Verses 13 through 16. And this is Jesus. He's doing this cool sermon where he's talking to a huge group of people. And he just got done talking to the group and encouraging them, saying, you know what, some of you are really poor, some of you are really struggling and hurting in life right now. And he says his blessing over them. But then he encourages them right after this. And so throughout the year, we've always tried to encourage you guys to say, you know what, we know that life is hard. We know that you guys struggle. We know that there are things that you guys go through. And so we try to encourage you past that. And that's exactly what Jesus does. And he says that you are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. So I'll stop right here. So when it comes to salty things, I love salt. Now I'm in my 30s. I can't put a lot of salt on it because high cholesterol, it's a real thing. But when I would eat at McDonald's, I put salt on their fries. When I have a burger, I put salt on the burger. Any type of meat, I always salt it. I put salt in spaghetti. I put salt in everything I can because I love the flavor. And so when Jesus is talking here, there's something that he's trying to draw out, is that salt has a flavor. It adds flavor to something. It makes it tastier. And so when he's talking to the people, trying to say that there's something about you that adds flavor to the world. There's something where it's savory, something that you have that it just makes the world a better place. And so in this culture, there are two ways that they used salt. One was to add flavor to something. Another one was to preserve food. And so they would put something in salt to make sure it doesn't spoil, to make sure it preserves it, whether it's vegetables, fruit, meat, stuff like that. And it would preserve what was in there. And so Jesus is doing two things here. He's saying, A, that you have flavor. There's something that you have inside of you. If you say that you're a Christian, then you have a savoriness to you that other people need. But then what's also unique is that he also illustrates how there's something in us that preserves, stops the world from rotting, deteriorating. And that's your faith that you have. There's something amazing about you that you contribute to the world. And so one writer puts it like this, that salt renders food pleasant and palatable and preserves from petrification. So Christians, by their lives and instructions, are to keep the world from entire moral corruption. By bringing down the blessing of God in answer to their prayers, and by their influence and example, they save the world from universal vice and crime. And so when we talk about making a difference, what is it that you are doing to contribute to the world? What difference are you making? What legacy are you leaving behind? When you guys leave our student ministries, when you guys graduate, what are you leaving with? What light are you trying to bring to the world? What savoriness do you have? And I always say, what is it that we have that is so important people can't live without? And so when it comes to the salt, there's something that you're able to give other people. But then he says that if salt loses its saltiness, it's only good for throwing out. And so that was unique to me. I've never had salt not salty, because salt is salty. And so when I was researching this, there was somebody that back in Jesus' time, what they would do is they would get salt from boiling water. And so they would boil the water, then the salt would be at the bottom of the pan or whatever it is. And that's how they would get their salt. And then they would sell it. It would be shipped from overseas. And so people started finding different ways to do this, to where they didn't have to wait for it overseas, or they didn't have to go to an ocean to be able to get the salt water. And so what they did is they would go to marshes or swamps and stuff like that and get the dirty, nasty, stagnant water. And then they would boil it because it's right in their area. They didn't have to travel a long ways. And so they would boil the water, get the salt, and then they would sell it. And so it was a lot easier for them, a lot less time consuming because they didn't have to travel so far. And so then when they would sell it, after a year or two of storing this salt, because they would buy it by the tons, and after a year or two, the salt would actually go bad because it was from dead water, it's from stagnant water, and so it would actually lose its flavor. And what they would actually do is they would just grab the salt, if that was the case, and then they would throw it out into the streets like gravel because it had no purpose anymore. It couldn't be used to store food, couldn't be used to add the flavor to anything, and so it was worthless. And so if you're a Christian, or if you say that you're a Christian, there's nothing that you're giving to other people. If there's no life that you're giving to someone else, Jesus is kind of saying the same thing, that your life really doesn't have a purpose. You're not using yourself to your full potential. And so he says, you're no different than the salt that has no flavor. Like, what are you contributing? If you say you're a Christian but don't act like it, there's no purpose. And so then he goes on a little bit into the verse, and he says that you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. I was going to do an exercise, but we got the doors open, so it wouldn't work anyway. But Jesus is saying that there's something unique about what you have. And he ties it back in with the saltiness and saying how, someone doesn't hide this. There's a purpose to what you have. And so all year, we've been preaching to you guys about the gospel. We've offered the gospel message where you guys can accept Christ. We've offered you guys to get baptized, to rededicate your lives. We've talked about relationships. We've talked about loving other people that are different than us. And so we've tried to present this light to you. And we live in such a dark world where the media tells you how to feel, how to think. Culture is constantly telling you to go against God, to do the things that are countercultural. And so Jesus is trying to tell you, okay, there's something unique about you, that you have a light about you, that there is something in you that is lighting up this dark world. And it actually reflects on the other people. And so I don't know about you, but I'm actually scared of the dark. I hate the dark. I actually slept with a nightlight up until I was like 11 years old. And so for me, I hated the dark because I couldn't see. Even now, like, I hate going up the stairs when the light's off and then you think a demon's gonna grab your leg because it's super scary. You guys can laugh, but it's true. So for me, that was a huge fear of mine growing up. Like, I hated the dark. And so I would always try to have a light on, then like zoom up the steps real quick so that way I wouldn't, get attacked by these demons that were in my basement. And I hated that. And it was the light that gave me my comfort. And so when Jesus says that there's a light and you don't put it under a bowl, you don't block that light, or you don't put it on top of a hill and then just cover it. What he's saying here is that you have this faith inside of you. If you've accepted Christ, there's something unique about you that the world needs to see. It's so dark out. It's so filled with evil. So what do you have that you can shine on others? And it's a love for Christ. It's a love for others. Everything we've talked about this year is how you shine your light, where you can tell your friends about Christ, where you can invite your friends to something like Color Wars, where you invite your friends to our youth conference that we go to every year, our overnighter. Or maybe you just say, hey, like, how are you doing today? And you're able to open up about maybe your faith. And instead, we like to hide our light because maybe we get embarrassed. We don't want to shine our light. We want to say, you know what, I don't want to be that weird Christian kid that talks about my faith. It's kind of awkward, and I know my friends won't accept it, so I don't want to talk about it. And you become dark in your life, and you become hiding that light, and then over time, you're not able to shine your light even for yourself, and you start getting lost in the world. And it's so easy to become fixated on this darkness than it is to be fixated on the light that you have inside of you. And so I want to do something a little bit different. And for those of you that are brand new, you don't have to do this. This year, I think what would really help maybe some of your peers, or maybe even yourself or your leaders, is to say maybe one way that Kinetic impacted your life, or that God impacted. It's not even Kinetic. That God impacted your life. We've done so many things to try to get you to see God, to try to be able to have this relationship with God. And so I'm going to turn on the mic. We got the blue one. And I would love for someone to come up, or many, many people to come up and share one way how you were impacted this year by God. What is one way that your life changed? And I love awkward silence. All right, Cooper, I see you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Cooper. I'm 16. I've been going to Kinetic since I was 12 years old. The one thing that really impacted my life this year was definitely the small group. You know, our small group, we were a really special group of guys who were mixed, at very different opinions. We clashed sometimes, but it always gets me thinking, and I look forward to it every single week, to just have those discussions, have those arguments, because not a lot of people, or not every day of the week, you're going to get that opportunity to have these discussions, and ones that you can always relate back to God. So, you know, I always look forward to that, and especially this group of guys, and it's going to suck next year when, you know, a majority of them are gone, but that's the one thing I really look forward to every single week is the small group.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm 18. I've been going to Kinetic since I was in like 7th grade, I think, and I'm graduating this year. One thing that Kinetic has changed my life throughout my whole how many years of going here has always been John's messages. They've always, every week, been able to impact me in a different way, and it shows how hard he works on everything, and it shows how much he cares about us. And I've also loved being with my small group, and I'm going to miss it so much. That's also really impacted me as well, but being able to bond with those amazing women is just life-changing. And then, again, with John's messages, you can tell in his voice and the way he preaches that he cares about each one of us so much, and that's what's truly special to me.
Hi everyone, I'm Caden. I've been coming here since I think the summer of 2019. And before I was coming here, I was with my buddy, and we were youth group hopping, trying to find somewhere where we could have a good discussion with God, because we both felt like we needed it. And so we went all over Rogers, Maple Grove, St. Cloud, just looking for a place to call home. And then we gave this place a shot, and we had amazing group discussion, and I felt at home right away, and that's something that I won't ever forget about this place. And that's all.
Hi, I'm Tegan, and I've been going here from about a couple months now. And one thing that has impacted my life with youth group is going to District Blitz.
Awesome. Bodie.
So I came here around 2017, and before I lived in Georgia, but before that I lived in Virginia, so coming to Georgia was like starting all over again. And I built up friendships and people you know, but eventually people would start to move away, or you just kind of lose friends over time. So for a long while, it just kind of was a shut-in almost, because I didn't want to start over yet again. And I was also scared because I was about to move again back to Minnesota. But Jace and Zach, who have been here longer than I have, kind of showed me this place. And at first I was hesitant, I barely talked, just kind of in the corner, and it was kind of just like church had been before then. You just go, and then you come back without really just something to mark off on your checklist. But as things went forward, I sort of opened more up, and people started to leave, so I felt like I needed to start talking and start contributing, because the group started getting smaller and smaller. But with the group of people that did stay, it formed more of a bond, and as people started to come in, we could sort of ease those people in and sort of bring them into the fold, and I'm very happy for that group been with. All right, I'm sorry, this was longer than...
We got time for one or two more, and then call the worship team up.
Hi, you literally can't see anything from here.
It's
oh
so
my
hot
gosh.
up here, I know.
Yeah. I've been going here to this youth group since I was in 7th grade. I've been with John forever. And by far, the most important thing that I've gained from this is just like a home. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, this is the only place I've ever felt in my life where I've always been able to come back to and just vent what was going on, ask questions, feel support, and John has definitely been that guy. He's been the guy to reach out to me many times, so I'm just thankful that I've had a place like this guiding me where God wants me to go. So yeah.
One more? Yeah. Got time for one more if anyone wants to. All right. Miss Gabriella.
Hi, I'm Gabriella. I think that what impacted me was probably either District Blitz or the Underdog series.
Thank you. So, as we end for the last message of Kinetic, I hope that you can hear those little pieces of light that everyone shared, whether it be having a family here, whether it be District Blitz or certain series or just friends that they made. And be able to go out into the summer and share that light. Be a friend to someone else. Tell someone about the series you made. Tell someone about the impact that God has had on your life. Be the light in the world. Be the salt in the world. People need what you have. And with that, we're going to go into worship.
If you guys could stand as we worship.